Let's go! Let's go!
Okay, folks. First of all, I spent about 10 years making all kinds of mistakes. For example, I used to try to clean a chassis with a liquid, something like this, and 3 or 4 months later, we had rust. So I tried a lot of things. So this stuff doesn't need rust. And if you look at this, I just picked, this is a Helicrafter's little radio. It's pretty dirty. I've certainly had a lot dirtier. And this can end up looking where you can see your face in it if you do it right and spend enough time. I'm just going to show you some techniques today, and so you can see how I at least start on it and get going. And there's several things that are pretty important. One is these little brushes that I'm going to use at first. Occasionally they throw out a little wire, so be sure you wear eye protection. Also, to spray out of this on certain chassis, for example, Helicrafters are known to have cadmium in it. And so you get dust and you breathe that up, it can make you pretty darn sick. And I've read in some of the ham magazines, they warn you about that. So I always wear a face mask. I've been doing it 10 years and a lot of them, and I've never had any problem. So a word to the wise, they have a bunch of extras if you want to get close, or if you start seeing the dust around you, help yourself. It would be wise.
So cadmium is pretty dangerous when it gets airborne like that.
It's a dangerous metal.
Yeah, it's a heavy metal.
Let's see. Heavy metal.
Probably a little worse than mercury.
Where's the safety officer?
It's like ACDC.
Right here in the distance.
With the glasses off.
Those are from the dollar store.
So Wayne, are those steel brushes for the Dremel? Or?
Yeah, they're steel brushes, and I don't buy those brushes at a place like Osh. I brought some examples here from, that's not it, from eBay. Just this morning I copied a few things. The brushes on eBay, what do you pay at Osh for a little brush like this? Anyone know? I do.
Probably about $4 or $5.
$4 or $5 for one like this. You'll see, I'm going to pass this around in a minute. I think there's some in here. Brushes are about 50 cents.
Wow.
If you buy them, they usually sell them in 12, 24, 36 at a time, and some of them have assortment.
So what is ours?
The hardware store. Maybe I didn't bring that one, but trust me, you really want to take a look and go on eBay, and you'll save a ton of money.
Is there a particular name for those types of brushes?
No, I just put on eBay search, it'd be like Dremel wire brush, and there'll be pages of them, and they're around 50 cents each. Versus $4 to $6 each.
Right to your door.
Yeah.
They're all 8-inch shaft?
Yeah, they're just like this. If they say it'll work in a Dremel, then you got that shaft.
Sometimes you see them at Harbor Freight too.
You can buy them in quantity, but I see people occasionally buying these, and I thought, oh my goodness, what a waste of money.
More money in brains.
And especially, you can't even find some of them I use with the local area, like these big guys. Those would probably cost $8 or 10.
Even their orchard?
If you find them there, they'd be a lot of money.
They don't have them that size.
Yeah, but you can buy them easily on eBay or other places. So this is like a 1-inch brush, I think they call it, but they're all over. And I like the brass for finishing. There's brass and steel. Some people will call these gun finishing brushes, that kind of stuff, because gunsmiths use them. But I'm going to start by just simply cleaning off an area. If someone wants to look at this and see how filthy it is, you can get an idea of how, well, I'm not going to do it all, so you can kind of compare it there a little later.
Now, typically you would strip the whole chassis, right? You wouldn't keep any components.
I would leave all the components on.
Oh, really?
Pretty
You
much.
work around it?
And it's a lot easier than stripping them. When you start stripping, you have all kinds of grounding problems when you go to put them back on. I do things like change the rubber grommets and stuff underneath it.
But you leave the tube sockets intact?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I have transformers, everything?
But you can actually get close enough to...
I'll show you. And it's with a certain trick, you can do it. This kind of brush. I'm going to turn this on here. I'm just going to do a little section right here. This chassis would probably take 3 or 4 hours to do. Doesn't take long. I'll go around this thing to show you how simple it is.
How long does the course last?
Oh, about 15 minutes of this.
Depends how much touch you put on it.
Yeah, and the speed it's going. The big ones don't last as long, but they're better for some things. Some chassis have a metal on them that I don't know what it is, but whichever you do, it's not going to clean up well.
There's no substitutes on there now, is there? You just said this already?
No, it's not dirty enough. And over here I would, too. But this little area wasn't that, didn't have that much dust.
So you just spray this on the dirty areas first?
Yeah, I'll show you in a minute. This was already kind of clean. So this is just the first thing I'm going to do here. I have another brush that'll get me right next to that thing if I want to do that.
One.
Yeah, those little round ones, you can go right around it, right up to anything you want. I just do this because you'll be washing your hands for hours sometimes. Now here's the real trick to a lot of this. I use a polish called Weanel. It's not there, here it is. It's called Weanel polish, and it comes in cans and in tubes.
Where do you buy that?
On eBay, or it's from Germany. It's a little bit expensive. I don't think it's that bad because it lasts quite a while. And there's an example. If you buy 100 milliliters, it is I think $9. But if you buy 1,000, it's 31. So you save $22 if you buy those cans.
But the thing of it is, where do you order, from eBay?
That's where I get it. And
I got my pencil.
Well, could you put that on our website, send it out?
Scott will do it.
Scott. Huh?
This is Weanel polish, and I've tried $100 worth of other ones, and this is the best, I think. And it's really easy to use.
You're cracking me up, dude.
Is it just for metal?
It's for metal. I use it on plastic sometimes, and wood even. But see what I'm doing here? I'm just put quite a bit of pressure.
And what, it just takes out the brush marks?
It actually smooths the metal a little bit. And I just do that.
That's just an ordinary rag.
Yeah, just an old t-shirt.
Real
really.
fine polish, is that what it is?
It's a real, I don't know what's in it. It just really works well on this kind of metal.
It's goat shit and cow shit.
Now after I do that, I actually do the Dremel again. See how it's even doing more with the Dremel now?
The mirror now.
It smells like black.
It does seem. This is a good chassis, and I don't see much cadmium flowing.
It's radio contest. Tell us all your secrets.
Yeah, this is going to tighten up the composition a lot.
See how much I've done in just this very short time?
Okay, what do you do if it's rusty here and there?
Well, it's the same thing. This will take the rust right off. Do I have any rust on this? I wish I did.
What about the transformer? How do you handle that?
Otherwise, it'll fall off.
Like that. Actually, what I do is that I clean it off. Thank you.
That's what I did.
I clean it off and then I paint it. You know, I put primer on it and I mask it and just spray it with a black primer.
But you mask everything else off before you do.
No, I leave it right there.
But I mean, you mask.
Oh yeah, sure. I use a newspaper and.
You have different brushes for back in here?
Not really. I use that round brush right here,
For where?
back underneath.
How about up inside here?
Why don't I do that next, and I'll show you how that works. I usually do this 3 times,
Really?
just because I
So
find.
wire brush, polish, wire brush, polish, wire brush, polish.
And this stuff is pretty mild as far as, like, you see I have some go in there. What I do is I have an air gun, you know, like a compressor, and I just blow it right out.
After it dries.
Or even now, I would blow it out because that's going to dry hard like car wax. So when I see it, I would have done that, but I don't have a compressor here, and it's just for illustration anyway. I doubt if this radio ever was going to work.
And you tried stuff like turtle wax too, and it didn't work? Or?
It worked, but not as well. I don't think it works as well.
Weanel.
Damn.
Weanel.
If you do this
Oh, that
3
does look
times,
good.
You can see how that
And
chassis
you have to
is.
shut off your lights because it's so shiny in your eyes, right?
You can if you compare it to this,
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is what?
Is the one you brought in.
That's fantabulous.
I have put this.
It's made
If
like
you
glass.
sell things, this will increase the value tremendously.
Oh, yeah.
On eBay, I sold things for probably 1,000% of what I paid for it, just by cleaning it up real good.
Looks new, looks brand new.
Now, see, here's an example of how this stuff can work.
Now, what does that do?
This gets out a lot of the grime, and it won't harm the metal. Be careful using other kinds of things because, like I said, I used to try other things, and some of them look great, and 2 or 3 months later, you got rust. And this doesn't do that. See how I put that in there?
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. Swab it.
Just like a surgeon would.
Just the cotton balls.
And I also can do it this way. Don't ever throw a chopstick away at me, guys. I use chopsticks a lot. They work really good for things like corners.
Oh, yeah.
You can get in there and really clean them.
And you don't have the screwdriver poking a hole in the cloth or scratching it either.
Yeah. It works well.
I've even put a pencil sharpener and dull it off so it doesn't poke a hole in the cloth.
It works really well. I have
Tighter
Q-tips.
places. Oh, that's cool.
You know how easy that is. And I haven't done anything except use that turtle wax cleaner.
But any other stuff just doesn't work as well, then?
It works, but not as well.
Yeah.
Come on, then you brush it.
Where's that? I'm going to take this off and put that round brush on. I'll show you the difference in that.
Well, the nice part about it is you don't have to strip the whole
No, I
chassis.
didn't want to do that.
I was thinking, you know, you have to strip all the components off, you know, and
I used to do that, and
start from
it's,
scratch.
you have a
Labor
huge
intensive,
chance
yeah.
of making a mistake
Labor
or else
intensive.
ruining something. Where'd that round brush go?
I think
Especially if the sockets are riveted in. There it
is right there.
Thank you.
Now, if you're ever going to paint a chassis, just put master salt from the inside, just
Yeah.
go around it if you're going to paint it.
So there's some chassis that look like they have brown paint on them or something. How do you clean those? I think
This
Zenith
turtle
does
wax
one.
works
Yeah.
really good
This
with
turtle
that.
wax?
This
Well,
stuff.
no, well, you clean it with turtle wax, but you can buy paint at the store.
That color?
That color, go to B&Z,
Oh, okay.
and it's a
It's like the
special paint
Zenith.
you
The
can bring out.
Zeniths have that.
Yeah, keep in mind, at least I've learned that automobile paint is really great for chassis.
Yeah.
A lot better than any other kind of paint. I go to like Kragen and get auto paint very close to the original,
Yeah.
and people just, how did you do that?
And don't ever strip a Zenith.
Wayne, I don't want to
chassis.
get ahead of you, but when you get around a wire or something like this, what do you do to keep from stripping the cloth off the wire?
Just be careful.
I guess you can put some tape around the wire too.
It's really quite easy to do.
Oh yeah.
See, that's not hard. I'll go on to show you guys. This looks like almost you'd have to remove that. See how that brush is going way back in there? And it leaves some kind of almost a liquid dump when you do this. So I always spray the wax on it again. Getting that copper wire that nice and tiny. You can also replace this copper wire with the wick that you use for solder, you know, sucking up solder, the desoldering wick. Double that up, the braid up, and it works really good for just replacing desoldering braid.
Wayne, have you ever had a problem with anything sorting out because you're using a wire brush and it gets
Yeah,
into
go to
a
Radio
component or
Shack.
something?
Occasionally, you know, a little wire will get in there,
Is that a
and
flat brush?
that was a cup brush.
Okay.
What I would do to get it cup again is just to fix it like this is it'll usually cup up a little. See, I can still, it now has some back, I just do this.
Once they had a shellac when they made them, they had a shellac exhibit rust, and the heat is reliquifying the shellac.
Yeah.
There's a dump. They probably had some kind of a thing they put with metal to keep it from rusting.
That's a nickel coating, isn't it? Isn't that a nickel coating that we're taking off a little bit?
Probably. It's cadmium and nickel coating is what I've been told by some experts.
Over the steel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an ionized, or I don't know how they do it.
Like I said, you have to be careful with what you clean it with, or you'll have rust in a few months. You'll do all that work, and then it kind of ends up
I
ruined.
have the
Most
body
remote
that
kits.
mine's on.
The new ones come with the drive and.
Oh, they do.
Oh, okay.
I've
Yeah,
got
'cause
some
I've got it
handheld.
without the.
I can also use a big Q-tip in there if I want.
And we get up and do with that little lawn like that.
There's another trick you can do with something like
You
this.
gotta make sure you dry.
Use a pencil with the eraser end. That works really pretty good if you tighten up the. See, I
Yeah, but
haven't.
if you use the eraser, doesn't the radio disappear?
Yeah, it erases it.
Just your mistake.
Now I'm putting a little bit of the Weanel in there, and you'll see a big difference.
I was gonna say, you can do a lot of this with the 4-inch grinder and just be done with it, you know?
Yeah, you
Or
could.
angle grinding.
Take
But
all,
actually,
take
the
all the lumps right off, huh?
I wouldn't advise it because the Weanel leaves a protective coating,
Oh, that's true.
and it does, and it'll protect the metal from, corroding again very soon anyway.
I was wondering if you wax it afterwards, or you
Yeah.
just leave that
Well,
covered.
I've used
Every other Sunday, out in the driveway, wax it.
I've used that blue stuff you buy on chassis that are completely chromed, expensive chassis, like McMurdo 5,
Scott's.
and it doesn't come back, the rust.
Chassis just disappeared.
But this here looks like it's even better.
It works really well for almost any metal thing.
Yeah.
It's silver, it'll just make it
And you can
mirror.
buy this off for eBay?
Uh-huh. There's this example over here of it.
You can get anything in eBay.
Well, why don't you put that on the newsletter and send it out?
Where's the newsletter guy?
Scott,
Everyone see that?
he keeps asking me, I think.
So it's
he
not
has
as hard
it
as it
messed up.
looks.
I don't think there's any similarity though.
No, he's just
He doesn't know. He told somebody to do it, he just shoots.
So yeah, I get this thing
Better
back in
listen
here.
than you, so.
Scott's going to tell you that the women work with the club putting the information.
You don't have to worry about being too gentle. I found that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's gonna report on it.
See, I have the FBI watching all this stuff.
Sorry, you gotta get right in
Yeah,
there.
the Secret Service.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce that? CD?
So obviously, if you have a mic capacitor there, you take all that off.
See how nice that works on something like this?
That's aluminum?
I think so.
That's steel there.
And I'm doing nothing but using the brush, and if you put the Weanel over that, it'll really make a difference.
Like glass.
The Weanel,
Really?
yeah, it's very smooth.
Yeah.
Feel it.
Shit, you slip off.
And that's from this Weanel.
Put my finger on your chassis.
It's
Not
W-E-N-O-L.
Weeno, it's Weeno.
I'm so grateful a guy
Eddie
showed that to
has
me.
found anything, he puts his
Yeah.
Weanel on it, it gets slippery too.
Oh.
That's pretty fucking gross.
That's what the Secret Service used.
It's got to be real little though.
And this is going on our webpage, right?
Hope you have no voice on
So
it.
you do about 3 coats.
Pretty much. You don't have to, but the last coat in my mind is more to leave that protective finish, make sure it.
And then you don't have to worry about rust or anything.
I have one radio I did this to about 5 years ago, and it does get like a real light haze, and you just take it in one little brush and it comes right off. You don't have to do any of this, but it will need that.
And then you write down any information on the chassis before you start, don't you? So that in case when you take the lettering and the numbers and
Yeah,
the.
but actually, see,
Yeah, you could
tube,
read 'em
you couldn't
better.
See that?
No,
Yeah,
The lead,
yeah.
the lead writing, the pencil marks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well.
The manual shows those anyway.
Turn
Someone,
left or-
5Y3.
I couldn't even read that. It was like this when I started. I think that gives you at least
What about
an
this
example.
junk on the top of the IF can there? You just what is
Usually,
that stuff?
I can use a razor blade and get that right off. It's just wax.
Oh, that's wax.
It's wax to keep it from turning, like accidentally getting
Oh,
the IF.
Okay, yeah.
Seals it.
But I'll show you how easy it is. The everyone's afraid of, ruining something, and you should be. But these things are tougher, I've learned, than I first thought.
What do you do over the writing on the sides of the cans and things? To not take the print off?
I don't know, you mean like painted stuff?
Oh, if you've got like part numbers or
Like
whatever
this right
that
here.
are
Like
put
this
on
right
with...
here.
On the electrolytics.
That will come
That will
off
come
if
off.
you use any of the Weanel. It'll take it right off.
Yeah.
Will
So
the turtle wax cleaner take it off, or will that...
I don't think that will, but this will.
Sure.
I can show you.
It'll polish it off.
Wheel cleaner.
Yeah.
That,
You use this stuff?
Aluminum wheels.
I use it occasionally on
Moves
parties.
brake dust and dirt.
Well, I use it at parties to put in drinks.
I didn't brush this at all. You can see it's still.
Mixed drinks?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's actually come off.
Cream to mint.
That'll take about anything off and not harm the metal.
Cream to mint.
See the difference? Look
Now
at that.
that shined that up.
Shines it right up.
And I didn't use the brush at all.
That's just it's an aluminum.
Just the Weanel?
Yeah.
It doesn't take
Yeah.
the printing off, does it?
It
Yeah,
did.
it sure
Yeah, it
does.
will.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
So you need to write it down. There's a
You
little
know what
printer,
you
then you
could do
glue it
with
back
that,
on.
If,
Wow.
if you could write it down and then put it on your computer and print it out in small and then
Just glue it on.
glue it on there.
Actually, we're pretty good at that, Eddie. Have you figured out how to turn yours on yet?
What's that?
Your computer.
Oh,
What's that?
he doesn't know.
He goes down to
So it
Chuck E.
comes,
Cheese
this
and
Weanel
uses the
stuff
one
comes
down
in
there
a
that's
tube?
on all the time.
I put a
Well,
quarter in it and it
he
keeps
must have bought a
playing.
larger quantity. You said it comes
Yeah,
in a tube?
I buy the like quart
like a
can.
little pint or something
It's
like that.
like 500% cheaper to buy the can. A lot cheaper.
Well, this is a liter.
Yeah. And you buy
For
the tube,
$18.99.
it's 10 times more
You're going to
than
be
in
doing
a
a
tube.
lot of
Liter.
polishing to
Well,
use
you
a
got-
liter
Yeah,
of this
but it
stuff.
lasts for
What I do
Well,
is put it in a little
club
bottle.
can buy something like that, and we can break it out in little bottles.
Oh,
and then
yeah, that's a good
cosmetic
idea. That's
bottle.
right.
Yeah,
If we
you
buy
can
one
save-
of them.
That's right.
200% on it.
Yeah.
More than that.
Don't mention 5. You save 200%.
200, yeah.
That's a good idea. Get some jars and then break it up. That's a
Yeah,
good
this-
idea.
this
So
This stuff you won't find in the
The Hawaii
hardware
vacation,
store.
Yeah.
you want to buy some
Weanel
Weanel?
this money.
The guy on the internet that
jars.
I've
Oh,
got to
selling
be friends
Weanel.
with.
I think our club can do that. Buy it.
That sounds illegal.
It is illegal in some places.
Oh, it could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Distribute it in small little makeup jars.
Just one time.
That's your
yeah.
Congress.
Wow.
And look at this.
Now, will you
I'll
need to treat that with anything when you're done to keep it from
Nope.
rusting? Or
That's
just that?
good metal cleaner.
That
is
will,
really, really good polish.
This leaves a protective finish. That's all I do. Is
It
just
doesn't
leave
matter the metal, then aluminum.
No,
Yeah.
any metal I
Use it
found.
on,
That's awesome.
plastic?
I have. It'll take marks off. Like light
Oh, okay.
problems, or
So-
like paint, drops of paint. It'll take that stuff right off.
What
Then
about
you
that
get a
stuff?
metal-
What is that?
It's
You know,
finished
what-
up with one of
You know
those
what I
numbers.
mean?
it was
This
using
will
it
do
at,
almost the same thing right here.
Yeah, that works good too. I've tried that.
Yeah, finger
What
won't
is
bend
that?
anymore.
You get things that,
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
they sell it at the.
What's the name of that polish? It comes in the bottles. It's like
okay.
3 different grades.
Yeah.
That's it.
This comes
Yeah,
with the
it's
seal.
okay. I've used that. I have
That's the
that.
stuff.
get a
Yeah.
Craig and a
That
stuff
works
like
too,
that.
right? Doesn't it? That works. You know,
only
use the
seen
second
I
or
tried
third.
them all.
People,
And this is the stuff you find the best.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
easiest to use and leaves them. Some of those don't leave a protective coating.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the first one you can actually add it. It does a coating. The number 1 novice, and then
See this filthy
novice. I
thing
think
here?
it is.
Yeah.
That's, clean that off real easy. It's not as hard as it looks. You can take a piece of junk like
That's
this.
brass or something like that.
Yeah. And I use the brush on that. It will now, after you leave it just a little damp. You can probably brush and pat it.
We've got 3 more hours of radio restoration here, you know?
Thank you.
gotta be careful.
It'll be stuck in you like at night.
I'm going to be calling my lawyer in the morning.
Yeah.
He warned you, so you can.
Don't wear your
right.
good glasses with it either.
You get one in
guys.
there?
Protection.
I've done that.
Wire brush things. I used to have big wire
That's
brush
nice
stick
stuff.
in my face.
Yeah, I'm going to turn it over here in a minute and show you what this did.
They
Turn
make
it
the
over.
bio,
Oh, look.
bifocal.
See that brass? What?
Yeah, it's like a,
Oh,
That's
right.
how it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome stuff, and I do it 3 times. The directions say once. I'm just compulsive, but I notice it does make a difference to do it more.
Awesome.
I don't want to run over my time, but what time is it?
You got plenty of time. You got another half hour.
24 minutes so far. That's it.
I also
You got 35 minutes.
I also spend a lot of time putting the components at right angles. I find that really dresses up a radio.
What do you mean the components?
All of the capacitors and resistors, like
Oh, yeah,
going
yeah.
this way or this way.
Yeah, do it professionally.
When you do that and put shrink tubing on all the exposed wires, if you go to sell it something like that,
Makes a big
people just,
difference.
oh my gosh, look at that, and they will buy it.
The Germans love that stuff. Right? That's the,
Now, how do you clean the fins in the air capacitor? Have you
Very
done
carefully.
that?
Yeah, I do it all the time. These things.
Yep. How do you
I do that.
Weanel?
Yep.
Oh, because it's aluminum, so it's
It'll take it
handles
right
it really
off.
well.
You just have to. I use a Q-tip. A Q-tip a lot of the time. I have a special holder
Jumping in here.
Yeah.
that holds this real nice.
Well, what about the inner fins? How do you
Yeah,
clean those?
how do you clean the fins?
I usually take a piece of cloth.
but not.
Oh, bent one.
No, it's not good.
There's a lot. They're made to bend, you know.
Yeah. Oh, just, okay.
Go in there and
You put some wheel on it?
Put the polish on there?
usually
Wow.
the, the end ones are, you know, what really get dirty because they're so
Yeah.
exposed.
That's the ones that, the inner ones that don't really need to as long as they're clean, but
Yeah.
But you can
you
put
can't really
a,
see it.
I even use a little bit of like finishing sandpaper in those just to
A
tiny
lot of
bit.
work.
And,
You mean like crocus cloth?
and it's really easy to
I
clean.
haven't done to the extent that he has, but it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work,
Yeah.
but you know,
But look how much I've done in what, half hour?
a
Yeah.
lot of people
Yeah.
buy labor alone.
26 minutes.
You know, they
1,000% over cost.
All right, now the
Yeah.
bottom of the chassis, how
Nice
do you
one for
fix
look.
that? How do you make that
Well,
shine
he
the
says
bottom of the
it
chassis?
makes
Same way, right?
I don't usually use a lot of Weanol. I just go through and use this stuff.
Communication
Yeah.
stuff, so
Get it
people
like
want that
this.
Put
kind
that
of
go in
time
and
into it.
yeah.
clean around it.
Right angles.
Yeah.
Doesn't take very long.
You can use a Q-tip also?
But the biggest hint I can give everyone, you probably know it, is take a picture before you do anything. Put your digital camera out because like doing this, sometimes, you know, you'll have to move a component and
Yeah.
oh my God, what did that go on? How was it placed?
Breaks off.
And, you know, I'm probably,
Started.
Like this one.
yeah, you know, I use a schematic, but still, that's a lot
No,
of
I
work.
don't know what
And you
that.
still can make a
I've done
mistake.
things where I pulled all
But take a
the
picture, it'll
components,
save you so much grief.
send the chassis in for sandblasting, and then
You
powder
can
coat.
use Weanol on that.
And then
And
you
I
have
use
to
a
go
brush
back in and,
sometimes.
you know, kind of do all the holes, the grounding, and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of work, but it looks great when they're powder coated.
I had some pictures I was going to bring and I left them home.
No, I start from scratch with those. You know, I buy brand new chassis.
You got a capacitor there that looks like it's come loose.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. So you
This is
gotta-
just a junk radio I wanted to.
Yep,
Now to get into that, I use a little dowel,
that was it. I did it all
something
TV
like
radio.
this. Little
It was
cloth
one
on.
that I
You
had,
can get
from
right in there.
1965.
One of these has a flat
and
end.
I had it for years and years and years, and it got rusted and all shitty. So I figured, what the hell, I'll just go for it. And they did the case.
That's just with this
how to
stuff
put
pretty
the
much.
case,
Yeah.
and everything matched.
Just
Now the
with the
chassis you
green
had
spray.
showed all the wires being,
So that's just with that.
Did I put
Wheel
some
rim
Weanol on there?
Yes, you
Yeah,
did
you
some
did.
Weanol,
Yeah, okay, well then, that's why it's so shiny.
but you sprayed that on first, and then
Yeah. Somebody had marked the,
Those are wooden skewer sticks for barbecuing, right?
yeah, they are. These things, you can get those at Osh.
You know,
Did you soak them before you use them
Nope.
so they don't burn?
No. Don't worry about burning them.
Now, you probably wouldn't clean the underside of a 41 Filco, right? Because it's got those rubber wires, and as soon as you touch them, the rubber
I
just
replace the
crumbles.
wires.
Oh, you
What I
do?
do,
Okay.
yeah. I don't mess with that. I just replace them. I've tried using the wire brush, and that leaves lines in it. It looks really crappy.
Yeah, well,
When sometimes, you know, you have to because it's so far gone. You can see, you can get about anywhere if you just a lot of junk in there. You can make it look beautiful pretty darn quick.
That takes a lot of time.
You know, I look at it as this is my hobby.
Yeah.
You know, so it takes me 5 evenings.
It's your therapy.
You know, unlike you, Eddie, he actually has fun doing this.
Yeah, and 1,000% over cost.
You guys don't have fun? Why are you doing it?
Well, what's going to happen though?
Not my way. I make all my money, but it's fun. I do make money at it.
We're going to do it kind of in a static.
This kind of thing works real well if you're doing like the brass on the
Brass on brass.
Yeah, really works good.
Be beautiful.
Any questions about what I'm?
So you don't use brass on the other metal?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, it just doesn't last as long. Like
The trouble with brass, if you use brass on aluminum, I mean, if you use regular steel on aluminum,
Yeah, it's going to gouge it.
well, it's going to corrode after a while if the little flakes get in the aluminum.
But you do have to be careful of moving components, breaking wires. Take that picture and then one of the things I do when I'm cleaning is I replace a lot of wires. If something looks like it's going to break in the next few years, I just put a new Teflon wire in.
Like the wire up there, that he's got up there, like the wire up there. Yeah.
What I do with this is that I don't want to do it today because there'll be too much crap in the air, but I get the saw or the Dremel and I clean that all up and I put masking tape in all the spots and just spray it with primer, like Rust-Oleum.
Do you spray this also here?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Everything?
I just drench it and it looks beautiful and it stays nice.
I had a question about the chassis too. If this area had rust on it and some of it was starting to pit, what do you do to kind of hide that?
I use the Dremel brush and just dig it through and then polish it.
Try to
and
level
you
it
can't even see it when you're done. You can't see it. You can if you look at an angle with a flash or something, but boy, it just disappears.
And you don't need to use any rust removal oils or
Those things
naval
always
jelly?
backfire. They cause rust.
Okay.
What is that thing that's common? That will rust out your radio.
Not naval jelly.
Yeah, naval gel.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, I found that tends to cause rust because you have to spray water on
It strips it, huh?
Okay. You lifted that white film.
That's good to know. 'Cause a lot of
If you
people
don't
think
get
they
it
will
off.
jelly.
It looks nice at
There's no
first.
white film on everything.
It looks real good.
I've tried it and it's for the birds.
Yeah, it looks nice at first.
What do you do when you have a label on, like this has paper labels? What do you do before you go and clean that all up?
I
To
did an
preserve it, or
eyedropper with acetone, and
just
soak
it'll
it,
peel it right off
it'll
without
come
taking
right
the ink
and
off?
then glue it back on.
Okay.
With acetone?
Just drop acetone on it.
No, it actually won't harm it at all.
Won't take the ink off, huh?
No, it doesn't
But it'll
take the ink
dissolve the
off.
glue.
You can remove.
You just get an eyedropper and just keep it damp for maybe 1 or 2 minutes.
Does acetone kind of help the brittle paper kind of soften it up a little bit too?
I do it all the time, and I, very carefully. I usually use a single-edged razor blade, lift it off, and set it on a paper towel. And dry very quick with acetone.
Acetone,
In minutes, it's very dry, a lot less even.
Yeah.
And then I'll glue it back on when I'm
You know what I
done.
do? I'll take a label off, I'll go to my Xerox machine and label it
Yeah.
and file it.
Yeah, I've done that a lot too.
Yeah.
You can, like the numbering here, before I would have done that, I would have copied that on my printer and used a label maker or something and then just put it back on when I'm all done. And it looks really slick.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Because a lot of them come with paper labels anyway.
Yeah.
Some of them are stamped on too.
Yeah.
Like this one, I have a
painted.
capacitor tester. Most of these old caps are leaking anyway. Almost. I've checked so many. Most of them.
I don't even bother checking them, I just take them,
Yeah.
I just replace them.
I look at them like batteries.
Yeah.
They're gonna go bad sooner or later.
Yeah.
So all the
They
wax
can even explode.
capacitors,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Electrolytic and sure.
all the wax capacitors you replace,
Always.
just routine,
Do you-
Basically, they're paper.
Do you stuff them?
they dry out.
Sometimes, like for the contest, I do. But most of the time, most people that go to buy a restored radio,
They don't care if it's stuffed or not.
Yeah, they just want what they had when they were 16.
Yeah.
They wanted to work. Yeah, they wanted to work well. People have given me like what's called an SX100, and I put maybe 40 hours in it and sold it for almost $2,000. It took a lot of work. And it looks, you can't buy one, it looks better than when it was new. It looks
That's a
better
helicopter.
than it.
You're talking about helicopters?
No, I'm talking about radio. Alec West. Hallicraft radio.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, okay. I thought you said something else.
Helicopter. I thought that's what you said.
40 hours to make a helicopter. That's pretty short.
Yeah.
And see, if you want to not even use a brush, I'll show you how well the wheel will work.
But like, I didn't use a brush over here. You gotta really get in there and dig it out. It's not gonna hurt anything.
No.
See all that?
Or use a screwdriver on it.
Why can't you use the drummer with a cloth?
You can.
Yeah.
You just waste money.
Throws stuff everywhere. Anytime you use a spinning device with goop on it, it slings it everywhere.
And I can do like this, see, and get right up against it.
He'll be embarrassed.
Right. He just set the bar today.
Yeah.
So the judges are going to see all copies.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's with not using any Dremel at all.
No wire brush.
No wire brush, just this stuff.
Yeah. What I used to do with my chassis, I used to spray them with lacquer, but this is even better than lacquer.
It works real well, and I found, like I said, I have one at 5 years old, and occasionally you just kind of dust it off real good, and it's fine again. It'll take off rust. I wish I had thought of bringing. Well, let me show you here. I think I can put a little wheel on that transformer.
Okay.
See the rust here?
1931.
This probably take 2 or 3 times. It'll really come off if you use a brush. I mean, you know, the wire brush.
The wire brush.
But even without a wire brush, see?
But isn't Rust-Oleum kind of converts it into paint too, doesn't it? Kind of those.
Yeah, and Rust-Oleum ends up causing rust after a while.
Really?
Yeah, it sure does.
Planned obsolescence. They
So-
tell you to use Rust-Oleum to protect you from rust.
Yeah. It gets rid of it, but it will.
Converts it into paint is what chemical reaction does.
Yeah,
Supposed to.
I'm not sure what it does, but when I've used it, the results weren't good later. They looked real good for maybe 6 months.
I got an email sent to me last week. These photos of irony. And one of them was a can of Rust-Oleum paint that was all rusted to hell. I should have sent that. In fact, I need to send that to Larry, but
Send it to Rust-Oleum.
It got a lot of the rust off right there.
Yeah.
And that's without, if I use the brush now,
Yeah.
let me just use, this thing has had it, but it's for 5 seconds. Take a lot off. This is a dead brush.
So you don't even unscrew the covers.
Okay.
You can, you know.
So you
Compare
could just
that to
polish it and
Especially to get
tell
around
it's
the...
chrome.
Yeah.
Get around the bowl. This has the rare chrome transformer in it.
Yeah, you could say that. But you know, I drench this with primer, Rust-Oleum primer, black, and it doesn't hurt the electrical properties.
Once it dries, huh?
Rust-Oleum black, you say?
Yeah. 'Cause that supposedly protects it from further rust. If you get the kind that says that does that on it. You can see if you did the whole chassis like this, with all these, it would look like you can see your face on it. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Let's see what I can do with just one.
Is it hot?
Dude, it's hot out there.
I'll just do it one time. I usually do 3, but let me just do it.
Yeah, we're not conditioned. Not conditioned yet.
Yeah, it's got the shine.
Of course, if you do it 3 times with the brush,
Takes all the pits and things out of there too.
If you have rust in here, it'll take it out.
So ideally,
clear lacquer over everything when you're
I
done.
never
No,
have.
it's got a protective use. It's got a...
Yeah, this stuff, at least it
Better
says.
than lacquer.
olive Olay, huh? Works good on the face, works good on the chassis.
Yeah, I should leave that out. My wife might use it. I just put it in here because it's easy to use. To open
Because you get a big pint.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're dead.
And I just take this home, take some parts out, and it should be on. And at least I don't want to put enough work in it.
Well, now you've got it half done. Now you got to finish it.
Yeah, look under this. That's where the work. That wouldn't be that hard. I've done a lot worse. You guys probably have too.
Yeah, we've worked on Eddie's radios.
Oh, really? Wow, I respect you. Any questions to help you guys at all?
That was really good. Thanks, Wayne.
This is IV stand?
Seriously. Yeah, you can buy those for cheese. Dremel. Yeah, Dremel. You know, the real always, you know, obviously you need to buy this thing extension. I used to not have one.
Is that?
Yeah, you just buy this expensive.
Hey, Ron.
Yes, it is.
You can get those at Osh. You can get them on eBay.
Ton of French fries.
Oh yeah.
I brought my basket case.
So good. I brought one.
It's worse than the other one.
Well, you didn't have to step on it.
That's what it is.